How y'all doing? You on one drop Elopes with Benita and Moses. And we also hear Pomo, my bro, Pomo today. Hey, Pomo is the one who gave me the name Benita Austin. Prior to that, I was just regular old Benita Whitfield. And so I really appreciate this brother right here. He's also somebody who has taught me a lot. Maybe you might earn the name one day, Moses.
I know my name. Captain Crystal.
Anyway, and so...
Mic on?
Yeah, you can talk whenever you're ready, bro. So we the chief sponsor for One Drop Elopes is Benita's Homemade Things, where you can get crocheted items or delicious cakes, cookies, anything like that. We also are the whole purpose of the One Drop Elopes here on intellectualradio.com is to discuss ways that we can respond constructively to white supremacy, which is racism. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I want to first introduce my brother Pomo.
How you doing?
And I want him to share with us, his strengths and his abilities. But prior to that, I'm going to share one thing that I love about Po, or the reasons why I think that he is such an awesome brother and why I've asked him to come in and help me respond to the question for the day. The question for the day is about the Black church or help to our Black community. The reason that the question came to mind was I was watching this video where the guy, he kept going over and over and over. The title of the video on YouTube is "The Black Church Destroys Black Businesses in the Community." He said the Black church has a tendency to take over every corner, and when they take over the corners, then they build up the church. There's millions of people coming to the church, and then they all leave the church and go back to their respective families' homes and their communities and shop there, and then they allow the regular community where the church is placed to just go downhill. And then once they're in that position, then other businesses can't have the corner, and sometimes the corner is a very valuable spot for businesses. So, and that's where we're at today. I also listened to another video where we got Chairman Amali, where he was talking about how Jesus is a revolutionary. So a lot of our people are in love with Jesus, a zealot for Jesus, and want to help because they are understanding and looking at the principles of Christ. But if they really are feeling that way, then how is it that the Black church can do harm? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it from a different perspective. So I'm very much interested in what our folks on Facebook have to say about it. Y'all put your comments in. We'll be happy to share those here today. Or, of course, you can call in. Okay, my brother. So Brother Poe and I, we met through hoodx.com and godspeednation.com, some things that Poe has created and started. One of the things that Poe has done with his wisdom is he has created a glossary for things that he sees in the neighborhood. So it could be this huge, gigantic, like paragraph or story, and he's turned it into one word. And you can pick up or learn more about that at hoodx.com or godspeednation.com. I'm going to pull it over to Poe. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and so we can move on with our discussion.
Okay, let me correct you. It is godspeedning.com.
Oh, okay, Godspeedning. You changed?
Godspeed.ning.com. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry for correcting you too. What did you say? What did you say? What was?
Pull your chair up.
Okay, what was going on? I'm sorry, what was going on now?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me beating up stuff. So, what's your question, Poe?
No, say what you said again.
Okay, I just want you to introduce yourself and, whatever it is that you feel that the people need to know about you.
Okay, well, first, me and Benita met through my man, K. Blau, my counterpart, and started off through HoodX. And it was an idea, how can we, media, put knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, in the media, how can we get any type of understanding out there? So, I think what he introduced me to you, or you just start hanging around.
Yeah, he introduced us.
Well, we've been knowing each other for about, 5, almost 6 years now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we go way back. And I think everything led up to this moment right now. This is real. This is actually a manifestation of everything we thought of. And I'm very proud of you, B, because you kept going. I see, look what you this real deal. You when I tell you, the thing to it is never give up. And if you never give up, it will manifest regardless. You know what I'm saying? Right when you get ready to give up is when that door is finna open. I always think of it like that. But you kept going, and it's gonna become bigger than you think.
You taught me a lot of things. I learned quite a bit from you.
Mm-hmm. And so what we talking about the Black church, right? How you want to start it off?
Yeah.
Or Peter Pan.
So okay. So we definitely could get into the Black church, but maybe part of the reason why maybe folks are doing or responding to the Black church the way they are is because of Peter Pan. So explain that to the people.
The Peter Pan lick is what I do is take a thought or a concept and then I put it into like a hieroglyph, where we can just say Peter Pan and you get the whole idea, the whole paragraph with just one word, instead of explaining, keep constantly out there explaining, or if you want to describe this concept, you have no way of describing it. The English language is a business language. And there's expressions like Moses might see that he might not be able to express. There's expressions in his mind that he may not be able to express because there's no language in this English language to express our melanated thought. See what I'm saying? Like he see it, but he's searching for the words. So I come up with concepts of the unseen and put it to the scene. So Peter Pan is a concept of a grown man a little boy in a grown man body. Or
really?
Yeah, the childish nature or the childish thinking of grown people. It's easy. What they do in school is just train you to do these basic functions. But, you go, so that way, even though you're grown, you holding a job, you paying bills, it appears like you're grown, but your development is still immature. So that's what school for. It's just the public school is just to get you to actually be able to do these basic functions, but without having the maturity level of an adult. I mean, those people don't mature past, 12, 14, 15?
Like walking in a straight line, following a leader, sitting down, shutting up.
Well, it looks different when you're older. You know what I'm saying? If you ever have a workplace, you're surrounded by the population. And then when you see in the workplace, 90% of them people are childish. So what do they tell you about your surroundings in the average community? You know what I'm saying? These people are childish. You got, it's the way like communication. You argue. You're not arguing to solve the problem. You're just arguing to get your point across. You know what I'm saying? And that relays like into the church, that they're not teaching about the evolution of the mind. They're not teaching about like mothers, the community. We say where the problem starts. So mothers, it starts in the house, and the immaturity under the Peter Pan Act, the immaturity level comes into play when the mother's not cooking pancakes or telling the children stories or feeding them wisdom, playing classical or soft music because the energy dynamic is she's trying to keep it at a peaceful level. More so, she's on the phone. She got the rap music playing. She's talking crazy to her friend or someone on the phone about how ratchet she is, fussing and hollering, and the only thing she's doing communication is holler. She say, sit down, y'all be quiet, y'all shut up. She don't really explain, really taking consideration the energies that she's throwing off. So regarding the Peter Pan, she don't have a concept of a grandmother. She don't have a concept of a mother. She just have a concept of a 17-year-old girl. Think house, feel the energy. You got housewives on TV, they arguing and fighting. She on the phone talking crazy, you know what I'm saying? And the kids just running around. Then you got the rap music in the background. Just think about the energy. How do that feel? Use your imagination versus, the sun shining through the room. She's talking peacefully on the phone, maybe laid back in a lady position with her legs crossed, and her kids either playing a game that she created or gave them something intellectual to do with their mind, other than just run back and forth, because that's energy that's built up. They're not being soothed. Go ahead. I see you seem like you want to ask me something else. Oh, the church. The thing is, the church get 1 day out the week. So God, as a child will look at it, God get 1 day out the week. Caesar get 7 days out the week, 6 days out the week, however you want to put it. So as a child, what would you think reigned most supreme? What would you say really in reality count more, Caesar or God? Okay. That's how that looks. So along with the Peter Pan, the grown man, the brother, he's stuck at the age 17, 16, especially if he hustle in his age of glory. That's where he's going to get stuck at. That means that's where you're going to see it through his clothes. They're going to be like a walking logo. He's going to have signs everywhere. You know what I'm saying? He comfortable in that mode. He don't see nothing past his old thinking. If you go to TV, what images they giving him? When you go to Tyler Perry, that's a little too far out there. You know, you got the Swift Alps Mountains with the Range Rover. Brothers ain't living like that, so that can't be the image. So when he gets to 30, 40, maybe late 20s, where's his image? Who is he to be? How is he to feel? How is he to dress? That they took all those images out, you know, and they left him with what's that rap group called? Migos, and he got that, or he got Al Green, and he, you know, it's kind of hard to distinguish between the two, or how he gonna be. You know, they need these images, and as black men with no father, we need some type of image to role model our character off of.
That reminds me of like the music that you make. Pomo got all kinds of stuff on SoundCloud if y'all want to check it out, Pomatic. And some of the things that he does is music that would speak that other language, that would be that in-between type. You know, instead of, you know how you say you got the Migos versus the Al Green, and there is something in between. Also, what I'm hearing you say is that since we don't have that something in between, we're missing, we're stuck at that 17-year-old attitude or that 17-year-old way.
It's like, I'm gonna just say, it's like a movie. It's like you go from the beginning straight to the end. The middle part is cut out. You see what I'm saying? The generational gap is too far. The father don't understand the child don't understand the father. So where is what the father's created? Where do you see it now? I know he didn't create. Maybe we can get with the skinny jeans, because back then they wore the bell bottoms and the tight pants. But the thinking, how did we get from Fred Hampton to this?
Yeah, when I saw your video about Peter Pan,
he was 21 years old. How did we go so far? We supposed to be building Fred Hamptons, but how did we go from a man like that to the mind state now? Something has happened. The evolution of our mind has went down. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, they allow the evolution of the white man to study progress. When
so why have we had this like dumbed down of us?
What do you mean? You say why?
Yeah.
Because we allowed it. The generational gap. No saying. Son, never do this, do that. Then mother saying to the daughter, never do this, do that. Is sit down, shut that up. You know what I'm saying? It's no nothing. It's a black community. What does a black community consist of? What is? At least we can have a black fist or something when you come into our town. We just a product of what they created.
Well, if you think about what Claude Anderson said, Dr. Claude Anderson, he said we don't have a community. We just got neighborhoods, places where we congregate or live together. And we're not really building or working together. And I think there's a lot of stuff, like you said, that's been lost. So when you and I were in our 20s, you know, we still had some of that community. And even if you go back even 20 years prior to that, like you said, with the whole
it's getting worse.
Hamptons.
We see what it's doing. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. If Fred Hampton was 21, how come our children are not nowhere near that? And as time go on, you're supposed to progress, not degress. I see a digression.
I wonder what life was like for Fred Hampton, like at 5, 6, 11. I don't think that Fred Hamptons come to be at 21 if they're not sitting in atmospheres like this.
You're right. He never seen his parents high. He never seen his parents drinking. You know, they was talking. They maybe fight a little bit, but it was love. There's a general love in the community. You know what I'm saying? You walk outside right now, you see brothers make me money. You see walk outside, you see a brother, you smile with a brother some type of way throughout your day that make you feel better. And then if you keep on doing this, the energy dynamic creates a love bubble, meaning an aura over the community, you know. So the fear lead, depression lead, you know what I'm saying? Everything is energy. That's what we're forgetting. We study going off the English language, which is a business language. So we got commercial mind and talk commercial talk. But everything is energy and spirituality. Just because the white man tastes the apple and don't taste the earth don't mean we don't when we do. He just don't, and he can't teach what we see. He can't teach what we know is in us. You know what I'm saying? So if we use that spirituality aspect, we can get past father. You got to think, because of the Peter Pan, which is both immaturity on both sides, male and female, they don't know how to communicate. So I'm gonna show you, if a man have no spirituality, this is what happens. You meet a female, she act in a certain way, you know, because you meet a representative in the beginning, not her, and he falls for that, and then she stop acting like she used to act, and then he start cheating on her. He can't really tell her what's going on, and she act, you know, versus a man with spirituality, he gonna nip it in the bud in the dough. So when he first meet it, he gonna say, look, the person I'm meeting now is the person I'm falling in love with. So if this is your representative, I advise you to be like this. But 6-7 months from now, you start showing me who you is. That's the person that's gonna get cheated on. So before all of that happens, she already got this concept in her mind. So I gotta check myself. What could she do now? But a man with no spirituality, meaning is he using the bastard language, meaning is
he's okay lying.
He can't communicate this to her in the beginning, so it's all gonna fall apart. She already knows she's showing my representative, and a few months down the line, she gonna start being who, let her hair down. She do this naturally. But if he says something in the beginning, the very beginning, how can she do it naturally when he already done checked it in the door? But that's with spirituality. Spirituality bring a way of talking, a way of speaking, a way of thinking. No spirituality, y'all just fall into the matrix. You just fall into the regular program. What's wrong with you?
That's the reason why I invited you to come, because I know that you have a strong spirituality. So I wanted you to help me respond to this question of whether or not the Black church is a hindrance. We got a couple people chiming in on Facebook.
It's a big hindrance.
Moses' father, he's saying that, it's a hindrance, because he said, hey, the Black church has $13 billion a week, but they're not giving it back to the community. And then we have another brother who also chimed in and said it's a hindrance too as well.
Okay, well, let's say God. What's the ideology of God? The preacher got all this money. So if I was a preacher, I would have this money. I wouldn't really need no Benz or no big old house, but I would make sure I'm cool and I'm looking fly. But at the same time, I would do stuff like raffles. I would do stuff like pass out tickets. Every so often, I would pay people bills. I would pay people mortgages. I would teach community and help. All they do is teach us about something that happened 6,000 years ago, and how do that relate to today? Jesus didn't have a flat screen TV, so he didn't have that hieroglyph to fight. You know why hieroglyph was out loud in the day, or they said no paint no graven images back in Jesus' days, because they knew images was very powerful. So one hieroglyph held 1,000 messages. So
it's kind of like what you're saying when you're telling those stories, the whole paragraph or one word. Okay.
So one hieroglyph was powerful. Now consider when you're looking at a TV, 4,000, 6,000 frames per second. Each frame is a hieroglyph. So you imagine that going that fast at you. It's programming. Is you know what I'm saying? It's doing something. So,
okay. Well, the programming of the mind, I think, is something that maybe we might need to go into a little bit more in depth after we come back from these messages from Moses, and we're gonna listen to your song too, bro.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for listening to these messages. Thanks for listening to One Drop Elopes on untalktoradio.com, hosted by me and my mom. One Drop Elopes is constructive response to white supremacy, which is what we want to see everyone free. One Drop Elopes is on air every Sunday at 12 noon Central. One Drop Elopes chief sponsor is Believers Homemade Things, where you get scrubs cakes, delicious cookies, and colorful acting scarves. Call in at 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953 to share your thoughts and opinions. Now back to our show.
Trying to go through life. There's some shit you just can't explain. The way I put it. For a reason, kid. The whole world.
Since the day I became North Wind, roll cold stairs and pain. No real manifest, no bless, move straight to the test. It's the cold world I shed, Satan touching my sky. Black pistols and menage a trois. On the first stack, on me the church and back. What? How you like that? Whispers attack. Through my thorax, slow down my back. Questions why? You keep Satan so much. Answer, he's in my life enough. Now he giving me, got me up in my gut. Mad pain, green wrong gang. Dead to the world, man. This bitch, that's my little princess. And my heart with it. Somebody please help me sustain these streets.
A community that can work together. We just need more of it. And every week I'm going to show you a different person, a different brother, a different sister who is doing that. Pomatic is one of them right here. So while we were talking on the break, one of the questions that I have for him is, my brother, what is going on? Is it because the people have a a Peter Pan mentality, and that's the reason why they're not responsive or they're not acting revolutionary. Because see, this is the thing. When I was a child and I was in church, my dad's a pastor, and he really truly believed that Jesus Christ was a revolutionary, and everything that he taught me was, the Christ way. But the thing is, if you really truly are a Christian, then you're supposed to be living your life to be more Christ-like, right? Yeah. So then you should be trying to be a revolutionary for your community, for your people. And so, but the thing is, my question to you is, what is it that you see? Like, why is it that our people are coming back and forth to these churches and they're not being revolutionaries? They're not being Christ-like. They could, is that the Peter Pan problem? Or what's your response to that, bro?
Peter Pan, yeah, it plays into that. The Santa Claus, it's like the Santa Claus. As long as you keep the Santa Claus going, then you change Santa Claus to Jesus.
So the pastor's Santa Claus?
No, Jesus Santa Claus.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
All right, well.
And then also, bro, when you get a chance to move into the images.
You gotta give me, okay. I can't just,
okay.
Let me get, okay. First, I'm gonna start with where you say, how do that play into Peter Pan and what's going on? Like I was telling you earlier, it's a feeling. When you go to church, you don't get the revolutionary feeling. You get more of a pacified feeling, and to bow down, it's going to be okay. Just keep praying, one day. So they don't show you a revolutionary image of Jesus. They give you first the white man. They keep that subconsciously in your mind. So as long as you got that picture, you ain't getting nowhere. And when you speak of Jesus, you got to remember, are they looking at the literal Jesus, or are they just looking at some type of Jesus where he's just like a commercial? It's not like, okay, if we're going to believe in this Jesus thing and Jesus supposed to be here, what's the thing called? You can resurrect and become Jesus. Let's see how it really looks, and you got a black man. So let's start off with a black man. Okay, so is we looking for the real Jesus, or what do Jesus do, and how do Jesus move? Well, according to the Bible, Jesus was very passive, and he was like, he wasn't aggressive. So now that's going to keep you passive and not aggressive. But then the real in Eurasia, they speak about how Jesus wasn't. He was really a brother going through what we're going through now. The brothers that's out here trying to spit the knowledge, the brothers that's out here that died and resurrected, came back into a new light. That's a reality. That Jesus' ideology is real, but the way it's being taught is false. The white man had to get it, rewrite it, put it into his form, and give it back to you. If we're going, he ain't gonna never give you nothing that's gonna really unlock the keys. But if you look at the reality of Jesus, I'm gonna take that song, It's a Cold World, there's a death and a resurrection. So how can I see this death and the resurrection? They say Jesus died, and 7 days, the third day he rose. So in that, you look like it's still fairy tale. Because how you gonna put that into reality? What do that really mean? So we're gonna say the Peter Pan act got you thinking literal. So like this literally happened. But when you free yourself from the Peter Pan and you go more into the spiritual thought, it's a metaphor that's happening to the black man today, every day. His hands is nailed to the cross, meaning he can't build nothing. He can't do nothing. His hands are tied. His feet is nailed to the cross, meaning his license took. He immobile. Half the brothers I see immobile, can't go nowhere, can't move around. The thorns are wrapped around his head, dripping in blood, meaning he can't think straight. He can barely see because the blood dripping in his eyes, and he hanging from a cross. The cross is all four directions of earth, wind, fire, and air. You know what I'm saying? So regardless, when they show you that cross, you imagine a black man up there, and they need to look more real, because this is what's going on today. He's being crucified. And the thing is, the female don't know because she's being pampered at the end of the year due to the Section 8 or the income tax. So, and he's out here at war. So they keep her pampered. They keep her very pampered and comfortable, and they keep him out here at war. Now, due to him not knowing spirituality, none of us know that it's a spiritual war more so than a physical war. Now, when he going through this death, he don't know nothing about the death and resurrection. He said, man, what you mean you physically got to die and then come back? No, you can kill the body and come back in the same body. All you doing is deleting the old, messed up memories and creating new memories and starting from anew. The death and the resurrection is that song he just played, It's a Cold World. I'm explaining to you who I was when I first came into this world. And I was a darker brother, you know what I'm saying? And I was explaining through my pain, through raw pain, that I have died and came back in the same body through pain. I died and resurrected. I came back. I died. I killed that old person, got rid of that ego, and then reconstructed and rebuilt myself under a new act, a new person, iterated with knowledge this time. So that means I have died and then I came back. And then you do this so forth throughout your life, where you get rid of the old person and put on a new. Really, you're just deleting memories. and you're creating a new person. You know what I'm saying? Or you can keep going through this real physical death and resurrection and keep dying and coming back to this earth until you get it right.
Oh, you saying so much? It's like you said so many different things that I could respond to. But the last thing that you just said was the constantly evolving. I've been saying that about myself. Like Lauryn Hill, she has this thing where she said, if you're not evolving, you're dead. If you just the exact same way, then you're not, like a live person is constantly changing. Like there's no way I am definitely not the same Benita I was even 5 years ago. Like I remember when you and I first, when we first met, one day you said you had put in a text or a chat or something. You said, if anybody want to be on the radio show with me, just say something. And so that was my first time ever be on a radio show because I just said to you, yeah, I want to do it. I want to talk about something. You said, okay, B, what you want to talk about? Boom, that was it. Right? And so now look at me, I've evolved all the way to that. It's so different. You can't be the same person.
Well, you went through a death and a resurrection.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what we call it. That's the ideology of Jesus and the religion. If black people start to look at it literally and try to see it spiritually and metaphorically, they'll get it correct. But just commercially.
I hope our religious zealots don't feel as if that's a blasphemous way of looking at it.
Okay, well, we're going to put it like this. I'm going to give them a realer way. Church is in charge of the morality of the people. And if you get from the day I was born to now, let's give it over 50, 60 years, just get that time span. Have people got worse or have people got better? Right. So let's do it as a business deal. 30, 60 years I'm in the business and I'm making no money. How long am I actually going to keep letting this business run before I counsel it? So what church doing? If it's in charge of the spirituality and the morality of the people, are our communities getting better or worse? So look at our West.
But the church is...
It's filled with churches and murder.
Well, the church is making the money. The church is being a very lively, vibrant business. They are coming up as the church itself. Like
that's the Caesar. That's the paper.
We're talking
about the spiritual morality of the people.
Right, exactly.
They getting paper, but look at the spiritual morality of the people. Is the kids out there can play, or the kids got to stay inside, or they gonna die? It's a lot of churches and a lot of older folks go to church. See, when you get older, regardless if you want to go to spirituality or not, your body and mind gonna evolve to that. So you're gonna be yearning to go to some place, and they lock that channel. They channeled that with the church, and they routed you through that. So when your body start yearning spirituality, it go to church, and that's where they trap you at, because that is not spirituality. You see what I'm saying? That's a tale of something that's supposed to had happened, and the man that was in it. But if you look at it, a black man, that's what you see going on today. It's more of a metaphorical. We don't know what happened. Who gave us that book? Let's ask you that. Who gave us that book? Was it God or was it the white man?
That also reminds me of, I heard Michael Basin say one day, a long time ago when he had his little radio show, he said that the reason there's a lot less black men in church than there are black women is because game recognizes game.
Exactly. Yes, and that's what you're going to see. And women are more passive. So the preacher can say something and it might not happen. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'm glad you brought this up, what I actually went through. There was a pastor who married me and my wife. And I'm not going to say no names. We're just going to keep it copacetic, you know. And I seen he was a good man. My wife always wanted to go to church, but she knew I ain't really get down like that. So this was kind of like a balance of where we can both go. And he was funny, you know, and everything. But he was starting a church. He started off with Bible study. And I was supporting him, you know, even though I don't do it, but I was supporting him, you know, trying to see what this do. And he kind of found a liking to me, you know, a little bit, he took a liking to me. So when he finally rented or got his church, well, not really his church yet, but he was renting, you know, how they do, he did a church from another church, and let me get a little space, a 7-day Adventist. I was going to the church. So as it started, I was holding the door and everything, you know, and I was trying to play with my part. And he had a couple of people that was from his Bible study going there. So he was starting. It was like 20 members. These are the people that was with him from day one. Over time, I started realizing that the more people came, the more things, you know, people put more money in. His head started getting big-headed. So as we had to have a church meeting. So as we sitting there, we was going to discuss the church members and the roles. So there's a role. So he say, okay, I'm going to do some things that y'all might not like. But I'm going to need a couple of y'all. I'm going to put y'all in a position. And if I feel somebody else come along for that position, I'm going to take y'all out and put them in. So I said, okay, now how do you start off saying some stuff like that? I'm going to do some things that y'all might not like. So in that case, okay, I'm wondering, like, we discussing church roles, all the people that's been with you since day one, why don't you put them on? Why? So basically what you telling us is you already got us. So you're not going to put us in, you're going to put us in that position until more people come to your church and then take us out and put them in a position.
A temporary role.
Why would you get the people that's there, your only people that's there with you from day one, a temporary role? Them supposed to be people with the roles that they willing to help. Am I right or wrong? These are day one road dogs, you see? So and that thing, and saying that, he just basically took everybody and put them in church choir prayer rehearsal or something with his wife. And she was under the House Choir of Atlanta Act.
So whether you're interested in singing for the choir or not, boom, he's automatically on the church
prayer role. There's prayer, yeah. So we still don't have no roles, no ushers, nobody. I'm holding the door because that was already the plan. No ushers, no nothing. No people who help do nothing. So I noticed something that he was a little arrogant. You got people that's there with you, but you're not gonna put them in position for them to grow. If I was holding the door, it's only right my wife speak. That would complete the circle. But no, he didn't do that. So later on, I'm gonna speed this up. So later on, it's a female came. She was from out south, and she had the little Jezebel thing going. The tight mini skirt with the red bottom, booty poking out. But the thing was, he told everybody we were supposed to dress a certain way, dress modest. Keep this modest, keep this copacetic. So she just started going. So all of a sudden, she's the speaker. One day she come up there and say, oh, she's a speaker. And I'm like, wait a minute, why my wife can be the speaker? Not that I care, but look at how this goes. She just got here. Don't nobody even know her, but now she's speaking. So I'm seeing the incongruencies and under the, how can we call it, the Solomon? Who fell? Well, the Solomon Act or David, which one? It was Solomon, basically. Solomon, let the women get their wish, worship other gods. I'm watching his he want to see her booty. He want to, he got a nice little young chick, he'll preach. He got the young women coming in now. He feeling like, real tough. But look what he got up there. Don't nobody know that one right to do. You pick somebody who's capable. At the same time, these people, young men coming in on the strength of me, but they coming in and he's not giving them a role to make them be
a leader in the church. Like he's not cultivating leadership.
Exactly. He's just trying to get more people to come in so he can say, he's falling into himself. He's falling into his ego. At first he was humble. God, he was talking real. And then all of a sudden it turned into some prosperity stuff to where he's talking about leotard jets and Rolls Royce and don't you want this and don't you want that. Not to help people, but just because he tired of being cramped up. And I'm noticing the Jezebel clapping. So he done changed his whole sermon dynamic over one female. So I'm looking at the incongruencies, and I'm telling him about this to where he called me one day, and he said, "Joe, if I offended you, or I just want to know you didn't look too cool at church." I said, "Well, let me tell you like this: do you want the truth, or you want me to sugarcoat it?" He said, "No, let me tell you the truth." I said, "Man, you slipping." I said, "You know what I'm saying? You slipping. You up here talking about Rolls Royces and jets and stuff, and this ain't even what that's about." I said, "You putting the itch and the urge for a brother who's up there to want more, and on that top of that wanting more, he gonna go out even though he got a job and get some crack or try to hustle. You making a woman want more, so she gonna be unsatisfied with what she got. Because if I got a house and I got a nice little way to transportation, why I gotta be a jet? Why I gotta be a mansion? Why I gotta be all this? That's just an urge to want more, and in that urge you feel uneasy." I said, "This is what you feed into the people." And I said, "Here I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm holding your church though. You know what I'm saying? Don't you know that I take a bullet for you? That the first person that's gonna be sitting there lunge at that person, no, it's me. You don't even appreciate that. People want to hear me speak. You're not even letting them, letting me speak like that. And you hearing them ask you to do that, because you scared of the fact that I might have a little more light." And I said, "But it's not about that. It's about the fact that they'll be able to recognize that you recognize leadership. So me coming in under you, even though I got more knowledge than you, I'm gonna act like I don't got more knowledge than you. Just to make sure everything play copacetic. I'm gonna play humble. I'm not gonna be in here big-headed, but I'm gonna teach you by asking you questions." That's how I had to do him, because he's older, he's an elder, so I already know the ego kick in. Well, man, who you think you is, you little young buck? What you think you know? So I had to teach him by asking him questions. I had to ask him the question to cause his mind to think for the answer. Stuff like that. But he didn't go about it properly, because the dynamic of it is me up there, I'm looking like a goon, and the knowledge of God is coming out my mouth, and the people are amazed and looking like, wow, I really can get into this, and that's brought forth the younger people and the young men. And he took that as, "Young buck, get your own. This is mine." And I said, "This is not. This is." You see what I'm saying? And this is the church dynamic. And think if I was ignorant, what it would have done to my spirit, my church reality, you want to call it. I'd be like, F the church. See what I'm saying? And we got churches full of being that's still locked under the ego and not the true calling of God.
Yeah, Brian, he just said on Facebook, that's right, control the ego. And if you can't control the ego, you know you can only control yourself. You can't control anybody else. So if you're sitting there having to deal with that, then your next opportunity is to just bounce.
But you need to be in the pew and then out there preaching. You're still human. The separation of the preacher and the population is the preacher understand a certain level of detachment from the human aspect and the godly aspect of it, versus trying to make it all blend in together. You know what I'm saying? That's the ideal of it. The preacher ain't he's supposed to, he's supposed to have a general love for the people and want to really see the community grow more so than I'm rolling.
So when you told him that, and maybe when you told him that, hey, I don't think that your way of teaching is helping us and helping our community, but harming our community, his response was?
But he was quiet the whole time. So that means if he quiet, he listening. He, you know what I'm saying? And he kept, what was happening was he was falling into the moment. Every time he was falling into the moment. And the reason he was quiet, because when people do stuff under the Peter Pan Act, it's different when you reflect it back to them. So if you get mad, what are you getting mad at? These are your actions. I'm not adding nothing and taking nothing away. So that way, therefore, he's like, oh man, how did I let this happen? How was I acting like that? That's what I feel was going on.
So he was reflecting.
Yeah, he was reflecting. But how did he take it? He took it like it started off as, like I told him, it was hurting the community because it started off as trying to be righteous for real. And then as people came and little things happened and money came involved, it started turning into something different. Like, he don't know me, I don't know you, types of, I seen that energy, boiling up. But what he was doing, like they had an engagement to go to, and it was a boat somewhere, they could have easily told them people, we just opened up our church doors. We more so got to do this. But no, they went. So they closed the church doors and bounced. And I told them on the phone, that's what I was explaining. It was a longer version, but I'm giving you the shorter version. The things that matter is that I heard from an old head, church doors never close. So how do you think God is smiling on your actions or frowning on your actions? You close the church door to go sip champagne and brag about the fact that y'all got a church, on a boat. But people still out here starving. People still out here confused. I said, Satan ain't sleeping. Satan going 100 miles an hour. So why would you close the church doors to go kick it and then come back and tell me we can go somewhere else if we want to and just come back when you get back? Whether you got people who can open the doors and me, you don't see the blessing lining up. I'm up here now. I got a little knowledge. I'm trying to help you. These are the things you can do while you going put me in play, and then I can make it gravy. I would tell him, you taught me all this. You see what I'm saying? And he used to call me. And he used to call me on the personal, on the side where I'm just sitting here on a Sunday. He just called me. And we used to talk, but I took off the mask, meaning I didn't sugarcoat nothing. I just kept it 100, revolutionary, this what it is, And what I used to catch him doing, not even catch because it wasn't like I cared, or I was really proud of it. But he used to take what I said to him the other day and put it into his sermons.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That reminds me also.
He used to sneak the light from me where he could have just asked for the light. You see what I'm saying? Because of the ego won't let him understand that Jesus is a revolutionary and maybe he was Peter. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that reminds me of when I'm going to say this and then we're going to go to another quick break so we can hear your song about Jesus.
Okay.
The Jesus song. So, and then when we come back from the Black Jesus song, then Poe, you can explain that to the people a little bit better. I remember when I was going to church and I was part of naturally the church was really small. And so I became, you only have a few members to do a few different chores. And so then out of those chores, one of the chores was being the leader. We call it the local governing body of the church, the session. So I'm a member of the session, and I kept saying to them over and over and over repeatedly, I'm like, what are we doing? I said, we're wasting this money. We keep every week that we sold the building, and now we got this pot of money, and out of this money, we need to take this money and help the people. We might as well just close the church. We got 5 members now because so many people have passed away, and we keep paying. We're using the money to pay pulpit supply. We're using the money to pay an organist, and nobody is coming. We're not getting any more members. So why don't we just use the money that's left over and create a memorial? And I had to make that speech too many times. And after a while, I finally decided I'm just not coming back anymore because I have a very, very strong desire that the church's responsibility is to be of community service. So
you have to.
We're going to go to Moses, going to give us the break, and then we're going to listen to your song, brother.
Okay, go ahead, Moses.
Thank you for listening to One Drop Elopes on intellectualradio.com, hosted by me and my mom. One Drop Elopes is on air every Sunday at 12 noon Central. One Drop Elopes is constructive response to white supremacy, which is racist. We don't see everyone free. One Drop Elopes, she sponsors Bonilla's homemade things where you get scrumptious cakes, toast, cookies, and Cadillac scarves and gloves. Call in 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953 to share your thoughts and opinions. Now back to our show.
My zone roam like exhale, knowledge from the hell. Inhale, exhale, Jesus is here. My vision similar to Satan's hill, bound lockdown cages. Also many black faces that turn the page. My zone roam like exhale, breathe the knowledge from the air. Inhale, exhale, Jesus is here. My vision similar to Satan's hill, bound lockdown cages. Also many black faces that turn the pages. Lost my mom in Jerusalem, 12 years old, teachers new to him. How we know so much, question often asked, discussed, where with God in heaven, 40 days to pray, break bread with Satan, cover my stand, Judah betray me, arrested charge blasphemy, claim Christ as slave, spit stick, handcuff, cross me up, black God of Nazareth, one loves, all the acts of us, drop a seed in the pound, Satan come fast, no root when he last, somebody help me, hated about my own town, no love, till my shit's going down, construct the staff, take food or bath, pack the jewel, third half penetrate, Satan's rule. Israelites in Bible school review Moses and rules. What would you do? Allah within you. Private hand to the promised land. Cross the Jordan field with Solomon. Trouble years, bitter life turns sweet tears. Writings on the wall. Any truth at all. My lost peers stand tall. Trial.
Welcome. Thank you so much for listening. You on One Drop Elopes with Benita and Moses, and we got our guest today, Pomatic Mo. And we was just listening to his song. He's gonna just talk about that a little bit, and also I have somebody on Facebook who is giving one of the good things about the Black church. I'm gonna share that.
Okay, well, what you say?
You describe your song, Cole.
Oh, that was Black Jesus. That was the Jesus from like 6,000 years ago to today. That was like he's here. That was just letting brother know you are the Jesus. You know what I'm saying? They speak about, and he here. You know, that was explaining everything in a nutshell. You know, and it was actually like this. If Jesus was rapping, this is how he'll sound. This is what he'll say.
And if you want to get that, you can go on SoundCloud at Pomatic.
Black Jesus.
We have
That's what he'll say. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, everything that they let the thief go, they let Bartimaeus go and lock Jesus up. You know what I'm saying? White man pull out a gun and say, "Sorry, sir, can you put the gun down?" The black man do, they kill him. So it's like he's about to, you know, all happening all over again. You know what I'm saying? If you ever watch movies, the first person that died in every movie is a black man. And the movie I seen yesterday, and I forgot the name of it, but it was a bodyguard, and he was. If you really look at movies, a black man got to be sacrificed first, and then let life continue on. Go ahead, Go ahead. I'm sorry. That was what Black Jesus is about. That everything you see then is happening now to the black man and the black woman, because the black man has been incinerated. Now they're working on a female.
Nothing's new under the sun. All right, my brother. We got Deborah Jones on. Then we're gonna go to you, Moses. Deborah Jones on Facebook has chimed in, and she said that as far as the black community, it has actually healed the children because there's programs in the black church. That's what she said. So, and I guess I can support that, because I remember being a child and reading in front of the church. There's many, many times that I would stand up in front of the church and read scripture or do a little dance or do a little program, and I definitely, absolutely 100% learned from that. I just am now in a position where I'm sitting here thinking, is it really, really helping? Most, you got a question?
Yeah. What church ever, would church make someone not be able to fight, and they would maybe instead of pulling out their weapons to survive or help, they would just pray to God instead of, or?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's what we got going on now. Yeah, you will be praying, and when really you're supposed to fight. You see what I'm saying? They teach you and what it's doing now is teaching people to be passive. And more so, don't be aggressive. You know, just, okay, let it happen, pray to God. That's what they want. Let it happen, pray to God. God gonna take care of everything.
So it's kind of like a program where white people trying to make us not fight.
White supremacy. It's the illest program. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's the illest one. I mean, I can do whatever I want to you, but you can't do nothing back. You gotta pray. But you gotta ask yourself the question you got. Just say, you go to church, you're gonna get a big car, you're gonna get a big house. Church, and they got all of that. So how do that feel to you?
Bad.
It's like, okay, what's the purpose, right? Like, I'm praying to have just what they have and they don't go. But you're right, yeah, it teaches you to be passive. That is what we're going through as a community now. You know, we're passive. We let a lot of things happen to us, revolutionaries or warriors.
We let so much happen to us because of the threat of negative things happening to us. For instance, like I said, I was also listening to the chairman O'Malley, and what he was saying is, you know that if you do something or you respond in some kind of aggressive way, that what's going to turn around and happen to you is you will end up going to jail or being So we're very limited. We not free. Like, that's the whole purpose of this radio show that Moses and I are here doing every Sunday, is what are some ideas, some thoughts, some ways that we can be free?
Well, you gotta remember, it's another way to fight. We don't just gotta be aggressive, where we say the church teaches us not to fight back, but you can take all that aggression, anger and pain and misery and do something different. You see what I'm saying? You can go help your neighbor. You can go help your sister. You can go help your brother. Y'all can make a pact to keep this end clean, this end copacetic. That's the way you keep, when you say, well, if we're going to be on the revolution now, they got bigger guns. That ain't the way we trying to fight. We got to fix ourselves. You know what I'm saying? They say, how you going to go fight the white man when you at war with your wife?
I think you're bringing forth the premise of this radio show. There's 4 different things that we're doing here in order to fight back in a constructive manner. Right. That's what Moses says every single time on his pause, is this is a constructive response to white supremacy. So 1 is produce versus consume. 2 is to relate better to each other. 3 is good family dynamics. The reason why I drag Moses to this thing every week and make him study his part. And 4 is we study in this book by Neely Fuller, who has also taught me that we should be more constructive. We only have a few more minutes, Poe, before we got to let the people go. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Hold on, Moses, you want to say something?
Yeah. Say, thank you.
Lord have mercy, this boy is, every single day, he wants to honor somebody who is not paying us.
Oh, okay, well, I pretty much just want to say that we're in those times of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You got to ask yourself, who was the people that crucified Jesus? If everybody in the church is right, in them times the same thing was happening. Who are those people? Are we those people that crucified Jesus? If you say, well, how can that happen? How can we be the people that crucified Jesus? How did these people not know Jesus was Jesus? Well, you got to think about the black man today. We'll call the police on us. Don't nobody like the black man in the streets, the thug or the revolutionary, and he get crucified. So this is the same thing that's happening. The thing in those times that they didn't recognize Jesus, the same thing happening now. So that's when you ask the question, well, if them people knew that there was Jesus, how can they do such a thing? They didn't really know, until it's too late. So love conquers all. Patience is a must. And if you just sit back and reflect on your day-to-day actions and ask yourself the simplest thing I said, would God frown on these actions or smile on these actions? We can get out and move a lot forward. You know what I'm saying? It's each one teach one.
The other thing is, this is not a show to disarm the spiritualness of our people. We are absolutely still a spiritual people and in need of our people being a spiritual people. So I'm not suggesting that you all say or think that what I'm saying is, no, we don't need a spiritualism. What I'm saying is, if the church that you belong to is not turning around and helping the people, continuing to serve there, let it go. Why keep giving your money to a church that's just going to turn around? If it's a black church, it's not helping black people. If it's just taking that money and it's giving that money to a white bank that's going to turn around and help you invest in all the white developers, invest in the community, and those white people are kicking you out of your homes. And I mean, the list of things that could go wrong can go wrong. It's way too much money. Like Moses' father said earlier on the Facebook, he said, if they're making $13 billion a week in black churches across the country, then we need to make a better choice on how that money is being utilized. If that money's not helping our people, then why are we doing it? we have come to a close. We want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much, Poe, for coming on the show.
For sure.
And thank you, Brother Earl, for being our executive producer today. And thank you, Moses, for being on point.
Let me say one
Thank
thing.
you all for sponsoring those.
The main thing is to be spiritual, and you can go anywhere. Just keep that in you. You know what I'm saying? Be spiritual.
Yeah, you can take the church with you, huh, Poe?
You can go anywhere. You can look at anything. You ain't got to discriminate. Muslim, Islam, this and that. You can take all of it and read it, and then you can do anything. You become more powerful. You know what I'm saying? You can't knock nobody out with one finger. So if you read all 5 books and you can make a fist, you can have an impact.
All right. So thank you all for listening to One Drop Elopes. This is Benita Arset, Pomo, and my other co-host, Moses. We'll be back. This is Benita. I want you to